Josh Green here for Tungsten Tales. Delighted to be joined by Kirsty Hutchinson for the first time. Newly qualified for the World Championships over the weekend, the WDF World Championships. That must sound so good that you've confirmed your place at Lakeside.
Oh, it's absolutely amazing. I mean, it's been a long year and a half out with COVID. So to get back to it and get back to winning ways, yeah, it felt good, real good.
I mean, did you feel like it was coming from a while off? You've had some really good performances over the last few weeks, and to do it this weekend with a few events to spare must be a relief.
Yeah, this weekend I seemed to score really heavy and my doubling let me down, which usually was the other way around. I've been finishing really well. So I kind of just, moved quite slowly through the qualifying stages until I reached the final. And then, yeah, it all went so wrong in the Classic, but made up for it in the Open.
And just to tell us, for obviously people that won't have seen, what is the Welsh Open and the Welsh Classic like? Because they're huge tournaments and the numbers they attract are absolutely massive. What's the atmosphere and what's the setup like at those tournaments?
Yeah, it's a real packed out tournament. I mean, this weekend gone, the PDC put on the women's series, which attracted more of the bigger names, the likes of, Dita and Fallon, Laura Turner, Corinne, people like that. So I kind of made my move in there, and I tactically decided to go at the Welsh Open. Wasn't as busy as most years, but yeah, there was still a good turnout and it was still a packed out venue.
How exciting is it for yourself just to be getting back to this dart? You mentioned obviously you've not played for so long on a consistent basis. To be able to do that week in, week out now must be brilliant.
Yeah, definitely. And it's definitely nice to be back playing an actual person instead of having to play online. Didn't do much of the online darts. I didn't see a point in it. It wasn't doing my game any good. So I just sat back and practiced when I fancied, and yeah, I came back flying.
Yeah. So did you practice much throughout lockdown then? Because I know some people were on the board 7-8 hours a day, and others just put the darts down for a bit until the competitions were there to be won.
No, as I say, I just kind of picked them up now and then, just when I could be bothered. I thought we'd be back playing much sooner than we actually were. So I did try and put a lot of effort in the start, and then it just kind of started to fade out. But yeah, pick the darts up a lot more often nowadays.
Just going back to Lakeside, obviously you made your World Championship debut at the Indigo a couple of years ago against Eileen de Graaf. What have you learned from that experience up on the big stage, and what can you take into the big one in January?
Yeah, so I do find stage play very hard. Haven't got much experience after I decided to take a step back from county darts. So I'm hardly ever on that big stage. So yeah, I must admit I played really well at the Worlds, but it'll be nothing like the experience I'm going to have at Lakeside. So yeah, I just need a bit more stage experience so I can take that into my game, because that's where I did struggle in the Classic first on this weekend.
Do you think it's going to be a completely different thing, being obviously, I mean, as good as the Indigo was, being back at that iconic venue, Lakeside, we know what the crowds are like there. It's going to be a different thing.
Oh, totally. Like, Lakeside is the home of darts. That's where everybody dreams to be, and when they're playing at the amateur level. So yeah, it was a total different feeling to what it was when I qualified to play at the O2. Like, this is the dream now.
I mean, for you, what are your memories of Lakeside? I don't know if you've been there as a fan before, maybe played some exhibitions or some other tournaments there. What are the memories?
Yeah, to be fair, I've got great memories from Lakeside. I've only played there once, and that was when the Gold Cup was there, before it was moved to Rotherham. And I drew Trina Gulliver first round, and I beat her 4-2. And just to have my dad there and to witness that, it was, yeah, that I've got some great memories from Lakeside already. So I'll definitely take that in with me.
So you've already got a winning record on the Lakeside stage. There's not many first-time Lakeside competitors that can say that.
No, it wasn't on the stage, but yeah, it was great anyway. I'll take that win any day over a 10-time world champion.
And someone that you played a lot against over the weekend, Greaves. She's had a couple of struggles recently, it looks like, with dartitis, but the amount she's achieved over the last 18 months or so, obviously making that final, what would have been nearly 2 years ago now. Can you just say your admiration for Belle, and to do what she's done at her age is a big achievement?
Oh, Belle's like one of my best friends at darts on the tour. I think what she does for the young girls game is just absolutely amazing, and she definitely inspires the younger generation. The girl's just an absolute warrior, and to play at the level she is and struggling with dartitis, yeah, it's just incredible. The girl's an absolute diamond.
And you talk about role models. I mean, there's so many big personalities in the women's game now. We talk about the likes of Fallon Sherrick's obviously been right up there. Lisa Ashton has done so much with her tour card and achieved so much, but there seems to be more younger names coming through. Obviously, Beau's leading that. It seems like we are finally getting somewhere and getting the younger names coming through, especially with the likes of the women's series.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as you mentioned there, Beau, a young girl called Katie Sheldon, who played on the women's series, had great runs. Watched a couple of her games. Also, Eleanor Cairns seems to be picking up a lot of the WDF youth titles. So yeah, I think the game's in a good place, and I think it's going to go far.
Just talking about your decision to go to the Welsh Open rather than the women's series, you said earlier, was it very much a sort of a tactical decision, knowing that lots of the big names would be on the PDC stage that weekend? Yeah,
I'm not shy to admit it was a very tactical decision. I knew who'd entered what. I talked and I asked the questions of who was going where, and then I decided I'd make my move and put the entry in for Wales. So yeah, at this stage, the Lakeside meant more to me than, being 10th in the order of merit where I left off at the women's series last time. I didn't feel like I had much to play for other than free entry into the into Q school. So yeah, I let the bigger names go and get the big money, and I took my chance and moved in.
And going back to the women's series, I mean, what have your experiences been like over there? Obviously, it's only been about a couple of years, but they're already expanding, and we're seeing so many more names enter those events.
Yeah. I mean, the PDC is just a great place to be. I've played on it now for 10 years. I started on the development tour, then did a few of the women's qualifications into the World Championships and the Grand Slam. And then I decided I'd have a go at Q School and went on to do the Challenge Tour. So yeah, I mean, all it's going to do is increase your game. So yeah, it's a really good place to be, is the PDC.
I was speaking to Lisa Ashton earlier, and she was saying the long days at the women's series, obviously it's 3 events a day usually there. They're, in many ways, they're a little bit like Q School, because it's just event after event, game after game. Would you echo that sentiment? Do you agree?
Oh, absolutely. By the 3rd event, you're dead on your feet. They are very, very long days. It's hard to keep the concentration level. But yeah, it's just absolutely brilliant, the money that the PDC are putting into women's darts and, putting us back on the map. Yeah, it's only going to get better.
How important is it to have that backing from such a big organisation like the PDC? They've put it into youth, they've put it into the Challenge Tour, and now to have it with the women's series, it's a big backing to have.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great to see, because there isn't many people, put faith in women's darts, and if anything, it just gets knocked. I mean, you've got the likes of Laura Turner, who's now took off and she's doing Sky Sports commentary for the PDC, and yeah, as I say, it's all just moving in the right direction, and we're all, eager to play on it and make them pounds. So yeah, it's great.
And just finally, going back to Lakeside, obviously there's still plenty more names to come through into the qualification. What would a dream draw be at Lakeside? Looking for a rematch against Trina or one of the big names?
That's the dream. Grace the stage with that 10 times world champion. I've played Trina maybe 4 times in the last 2 months, and I've managed to sneak a win every time. So maybe I am just that monkey on her back, and yeah, bring it on. Lakeside stage, I'd love Trina. Yeah. she's a great friend too. So yeah, would be amazing.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much for your time this evening, Kirsty. Much
Thank you.
appreciated. And best of luck
Thanks for
at Lakeside.
asking.
See you there.
Thank you.